Hello, welcome to DLea DLayered. David Lee here. Hi, friends. We're listening to a little Anderson Paak, or is it Anderson Paak? Do you like the Anderson Paak? Do you know him? Amazing. Anderson Paak, P-A-A. And my alarm is going off. Yeah, for once. Listening to some Anderson. Can you hear that? Can you hear it? Can you hear it? We're live here on Facebook. It's 12 noon Central here in the Midwest. David Lee with DLea DLayered, addressing, unpacking relationship complexities, life complexities, leadership complexities right here live, 12 noon Central. Here we are. Thanks for jumping on. We're listening to a little Anderson Paak. Love this stuff. Yeah, shout out to both my kids and to Paige Stewart for introducing me to him. I think I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was. This guy's incredible. If you have a chance to check out Anderson Paak. All right, so we're going to bring down our bumper music. All right, let's see here. I want to make sure that I'm catching people live. Here we go. Are we live? Are we live? I think we're live. All right. So, I think we are. There we are. There we are. I see us now. I see us now. All right. All right. All right. Okay. We are live. Thank you so much for being on, folks. So we are live here today, and we're talking about a really important topic for so many of you single parents out there, for single parents. So shout out to those who are watching live. Folks are jumping on, I think I see. But we're going to talk about the dating life with kids, right? Or let's say that you are single, right? You don't have kids, and you have either dated or would be interested in dating someone with kids, right? This is a lot of you. This is a lot of us. And certainly those with whom I work with on a daily basis. I will tell you right now, I'm going to be super, super vulnerable right now. My energy level today is not at its norm. I've had a very, very deep morning, just working through some stuff, most related to just transition and business and life in general. And so I'm bringing that to you because I like to be open and honest. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So I'm inviting you into this world. So anyway, thanks for being on. And I'm going to look at this because I can't quite see everyone on here yet. And I'm hoping that we're live. I'm not seeing folks. If you're on here live, send me a shout. Let me know that you're here. Hope that we're live. So we're going to jump into this. So if we're not live and this is being recorded later, you're going to jump on and it's fantastic. So we're going to talk about dating with kids. And let me be the first person to say this. Single dad, right? I've been married and divorced twice. And this particular subject hits home very, very closely to me. And I will tell you, and my children, my beautiful souls that are above my head will tell you that I do not have this perfect, have not had this perfect, not even close. So I don't come to you today with perfection, but I do come to you today with progress. So that's where we're coming from today. So with that in mind, we're going to jump into this. So I have some, and I always want to address this, first of all, is that here at Daring Deeply, we're always asking the question, why, right? Because there's always an answer to the question, why we address the things that we do. Why do we make the decisions that we do? Why do we do the decisions that we don't do? What is all that about? And so this is super important to understand in every single time we jump on here on these lives, is to think in terms of curiosity before criticism, asking the question, why does someone respond the way they do? Okay. So I am going to get rid of this because I think I'm not able to see y'all, and I want to make sure I see y'all. So bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Get rid of this. All right. I think I'm not able to see y'all, and I want to. Okay. I'm still not seeing folks. Oh, well, it happens. All right. So we're going to talk about this, dating with kids. So we always want to ask the question, why. This is super important. So again, my confession to all you is I do not do this perfect. I have not done this perfect. It has been a learning process. Again, I've been married and divorced twice. I have been in the process, or I have done the blended family in a second marriage, or attempted to do that. And I've made plenty of mistakes along the way, plenty of mistakes. And I believe that I've also done some things that, were pretty okay. So I want to make sure that everybody is understanding of that. So, and it's a really great lesson for all of us to learn that it's about progress over perfection. Progress over perfection. This is super important to understand. So with that in mind, let's get into this. How about some questions here at the top? Some questions for us to consider, right? So you're a single parent, right? Or you're a single person and you're dating people who have kids, right? This includes a lot of the population, a lot of folks that are watching here today. So we have some questions for you. First question, how about this one? Should you date as a single parent? Should you date a single parent? What does that mean? Should you even do that? I know some parents out there are asking that questions, maybe new to separation, new to divorce, new to this really, really challenging new paradigm, and to understand, do I even date when I have kids? Right? There may be some questions of, you know what, I'm not going to date until the kids are gone, right? I'm going to, invest and devote myself to my kids and not have that as a potential distraction. So these are questions that that a lot of us in this space deal with, operate with. And so it's super important in which to address those and to allow yourself to move through those questions, because ultimately, regardless of what we talk about today, these are decisions that you are making. So we're going to provide some hacks. We're going to provide some insight, perhaps include some questions in which you haven't necessarily thought of. And so we're going to be doing that today. So, I just had the thought. I know what's going on. All right. I think I know exactly what's going on. So hold on. Bear with me, friends. Bear with me. Here we go. That's why. That's why. Here we go. Okay. I think now people are going to be able to see me. You know what? This is totally like, okay, hopefully you can see me now. Awesome. Right. I'm like, I think people are not having an opportunity to see what's going on. So hopefully now you can see what's going on. Okay. So back into this. So some other questions. What, if anything, do I share with my kids about dating? What, if anything, do I share with my kids about dating? What do I share? What's appropriate? We're going to talk about the idea of appropriateness in just a moment. So, how do I handle communication with my kids about dating? There's another question. How do I handle communication with the kids and the other parent? There's a powerful question right there. So, I'm going to, one more time, I'm going to refresh this. I want to make sure that I'm seeing everybody. Here we go. Okay. One more time. I'm going to. Okay. Let's make sure that we got it. Okay. It might just be a lost cause as far as like having the live interaction with y'all. Hey, you know what? This happens. It happens. It's okay. All right. So jump back in. So here's some other questions. So how do I handle communication with my kids? Okay. What's appropriate? What's not appropriate? These are important questions. What do I share? Here's some questions. How about this? Introductions. When or if I introduce, right, my dating partner, one with whom I'm dating, all right, how do I introduce them? When does that happen? When does that happen? Dating partner, one with whom I'm dating, all right, how do I introduce them? When does that happen? When does that? Okay. And then lastly, what is appropriate and what's not? How do I know? Okay. So I want to address this appropriateness idea here. And I spoke to this a couple of weeks ago when I was on a podcast and we were talking about sex and how you talk to your children about sex. And what I want to introduce is this idea of speaking in terms of mature appropriate rather than age appropriate. I'm going to say that again. We speak in terms to our kids just in general, by the way, about sex, about intimacy, about some of the taboos of life, right? If you're the population that's watching this right now, is my kid able to handle this? Is my child able to handle this? I would invite you to consider this idea that we think in terms of mature appropriate rather than age appropriate. Mature appropriate rather than age appropriate. Because every child is different. You may have multiple children, or the person with whom you're dating has multiple children, and they are all on different levels of maturity. This can be challenging as a parent. Trust me, I know that. Personally, as a parent, I have 3 amazing children. You see them above my head right now, right? And they're all different. They're all amazing. They all came, from me, right? And their mother, their amazing mother, and they're all different. So it's important to note there is a difference in what you share and how you bring forth information about you dating in this space to your children. It's important to think in terms of mature appropriate rather than age appropriate. Make sense? Okay, cool. So, all right. So let's go into a bit of perspective that I'm going to offer to you. Okay. And the first one I'm going to bring to you is it potentially could be very charged, right? It might get some really powerful reactions, and that's okay. I receive a lot of questions from those men and women who are dating in the dating world who have children. And the number one question that comes up really involves 2 ideas. Okay. One is prioritization, and the other one is boundaries, right? Which ultimately they link together, right? And the prioritization question is this, okay, is who comes first? This is difficult. This is a challenge, especially, right, in the bounds of your marriage. Those kids might have come first, certainly, right? When you were married, partnered, those types of things. And that's a whole nother conversation to have. Like, where do the kids come as far as prioritization within the bounds of a relationship, a marriage? We're not necessarily going to jump into that, but what I will say is it's important to know and to be very clear with yourself about the prioritization of where things land. And it can be a beautiful symbiotic connection to have a balance. What I will say is this, right? Is that ultimately your children, I will phrase it, I will frame it in this way. Your children want nothing more than for you to be happy. That's right, friends, okay? Single parents out there that I'm talking to, or those in the dating world that are dating single parents, okay? Your children want nothing more than for you to be happy. It's true. They want to see you joy-filled, right? They may not have seen you joy-filled, right? If the relationship, if the marriage was completed and there was some difficulty and some challenge and they saw some things that weren't ideal, that they may be ready. Boy, are they ready for you to be happy and for you to find peace, passion, and joy post-marriage. It's true. Your children just want you to be happy. So keeping in that vein, they want to see also models of healthy relationship behavior. And what I will say is, wouldn't it be amazing for your children to witness, right, before they are making those decisions about relationships? Wouldn't it be amazing for them to witness their parent going through the ups and the downs of relationship building, to model for them, right, the do's and the don'ts, and for you to have mature, appropriate conversations with your children about your dating life. Include them. We talk about invitations a lot with Daring Deeply, inviting people into conversations. This is true with your children as well. I have not been perfect on this at all because I was scared. I was terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, what will they think? Instead, I think if I were to do things over, I would invite them more into the conversation because they just wanted to know what was going on in Dad's life, right? And I could have provided healthy models, or in a lot of my cases, to be honest, right, not the healthiest choices, but to include them, again, mature, appropriate, in ways that they can learn about building relationships even before they're making those choices for themselves. So again, the train of thought is this, is your children want nothing more than for you to be happy, friends. Those of you that are single, right, who are no longer, right, married to their parent, okay? They want to know that you are happy. They want to know that both parents are happy, and they want and they desire, and they're looking for models of relationships. So perhaps this could affect, right? Could put some perspective in you if you're like, I'm not sure if I want to date with kids. What will they think? Will they think that I'm putting them second? Right? I would invite you to consider that they're watching and they're waiting and they're looking for models in all types of behavior, how you handle who you are in all your relationships, right? Career, money, all of that. They're watching, right? And by the way, they're watching. And if you make mistakes, it's not the end of the world, right? Again, it's about perfection, it's about progress, not perfection. This is important. Okay. Your kids want nothing more than for you to be happy. And wouldn't it be amazing to provide them ongoing, mature, up-leveling, awakened, enlightened relationship work in the life for them to see and to be a model, for you to be a model for that. Imagine that. Interesting. And I will offer this as well. If they can see that you are engaged, right, with the relationship world, with the dating world, and that you're working through things, having open, mature, appropriate conversations with your kids, they want you to be happy. They want to know what's going on. They want to know that mom and dad can make mistakes, right? And then if you invite them into the conversation, they will understand the prioritization of placing the new person where they need to be, right? Okay. And it's really not about making choices one or the other over the other. It's about finding this symbiotic, co-creative relationship between you with whom you are dating or potentially dating and your children, as everything is open, right? Everything is inviting, everything is introductory, right? This is the space in which we want to live. Okay. Introductions. Ooh, this is a tough one. When do we make those decisions about introducing kids to someone with whom you are dating? I would offer this from personal experience, is potentially the more open and organic that those introductions are made, right? Just in the live, not necessarily making these formal introductions like we're having an event, we're going to dinner, we're having a play date, we're doing all of these types of things. And some of that can be incredibly appropriate and it's okay. But again, to have those open, inviting, introductory conversations, open communication with your kids and with your partner to say, hey, this is what's going on. Okay. That perhaps the most powerful introductions that you can introduce with your children and the person with whom you're dating is that it is organic, that it just happens, right? That it's not necessarily a formal, we're going to dinner, hey, they're coming over, hey, this is what's going to happen, and we make more of a deal out of it. Then there's unnecessary potential of awkwardness, right? Like, ooh, I have to perform, I have to show up, I have to look a certain way and behave a certain way, because both parties, by the way, if you are the parent, right? If you are the parent who is making these decisions about your children and about your partner, right? It's your responsibility. I would invite you to consider, pardon me, it is your responsibility. Hello, Becca, for jumping on. I see you there. People are kind of trickling in because we weren't here at the top of the hour. So thanks for jumping on. And a lot of people will be watching this later. Is that you are responsible for this interaction, right? And this is going to go into my next point, right? The more confident you are in your new relationship, the more confident that you are in your new relationship, the more confident everybody will feel. Okay. Does that make sense? If you're wishy-washy about a potential new relationship, if you're not really sure, everyone feels that, most especially your kids. Okay. But if you're confident going into a new relationship and you feel like it is ready for some organic introduction, right? The more confident that you approach that, and you're confident not in a way that is, I'm confident, right? Or I am showing bravado, or I know that this is right, or this is correct. It's more about, hey, I would love to share this part of my life with you, both sides, right? This is an incredibly powerful and intimate moment, or what's the word I'm looking for? Series of moments, right? Because I think where we make a lot of mistakes, and I certainly have, is that we have this moment. We try to craft this moment of introduction. Hello, Melissa. Thanks for jumping on. We have this moment of introduction, all right? And that at times we make this about a production, right? An introduction, right, needs to be more organic and less production, right? It feels a little bit more natural, right? That you're inviting both parties together. Less about formality, more about organic introduction. Make sense? Is that helpful? Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to establish this language too. Inclusionary and invitational. I've said that before. Okay. And I apologize straight up. I'm a bit all over the place because we had some technical stuff, this, that, and the other. Okay. Thanks for jumping on. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for giving me grace. Appreciate it. Love you all. Okay. So takeaways. Let's kind of bring it back here. Let's try to bring it back to some action points, because that is what we want to do. Is we want to be able to provide some tools and strategies moving forward when it comes to dating with kids. Okay. All right. So here's what we have. Process in terms, we've said this before, process in terms of mature appropriate rather than age appropriate. This takes a level of knowing your children, right? What is appropriate for them to receive? And again, if you have multiple children, it may be different for all of them, and that's okay. That is our responsibility as a parent to know that. So mature appropriate rather than age appropriate. Because some kids can handle something at 8 that 15-year-olds may not necessarily be able to handle. Okay. Also, this goes into the confidence realm. You're asking for support for this relationship from your children, not approval. This is important. This is really important with all decisions that you're making with those with whom you're closest. Spouse, partner, children. You're asking to invite them into a situation for support, not approval. You're not asking approval of your children, because these decisions are yours. Here's where the boundaries come into play. Okay. If you are making a choice to invite these two parties together, okay, this is your choice, regardless of how it's received, right? Obviously, we take into account those with whom we love, but ultimately, this is your decision. So again, you're asking for support rather than approval. This is an important point, okay? Your confidence in your relationship is leading your children. Okay. If you're confident in your relationship, your children will feel and receive that, and they will be more inclined, right, to receive that in ways in which you are receiving the relationship. They will follow you, right? If you feel like if it feels like the relationship is less than something that's super important and moving in a direction that could be of some long-term commitment, they're going to feel that, and they're going to understand, and they're going to be sad, and they're going to be confused. I've had this experience. Okay. So the level of confidence that you have. Thank you, Melissa. Yes. Asking for support rather than approval. Yeah. Thank you so much for that feedback. I appreciate you jumping on here. You're welcome. So moving on. Introductions. Okay. Introductions, more organic, less formality. Okay. More organic, less formality. And by the way, if you're interested in knowing what that means or have some ideas, send me a message, leave me a comment in the lines. Okay. Leave me a comment in which to say, hey, what does it mean to have an organic introduction? What are some ideas that you can float my way? I'm more than happy to address that, or send me a DM. Again, we're inviting the kids into conversations. We're inviting our new partner. Okay. Someone with whom we feel like it's important. Okay. And by the way, ongoing conversations, introductory, invitational conversations before they meet, let them know, mature appropriate, not age appropriate, mature appropriate conversations. Hey kids, I'm dating, right? And know that the importance of with whom that I would invite you to be introduced is important. You're having those ongoing conversations. Again, your kids want you to be happy more than anything. And they will follow your lead and your level of confidence in that new relationship. Okay. The other parent, this is important. You invite and include the big decisions. Okay. You invite and include the big decisions, and what those big decisions are, it's up to you. All right. If it is a formal introduction, perhaps it's appropriate and mindful and generous and giving to include the other parent in that decision for support, not approval. Support rather than approval. Okay. support rather than approval. You're including into the process. This can feel really good and can build intimacy with your former partner, former spouse. Okay. So we've covered a lot. We've been over. Thanks for jumping on here. I know we were super late. I had a setting wrong. Thank you so much for being graceful. I appreciate you being on here with me today. I think we're done there. I think we're going to go ahead and stop. So dating with kids, this is not easy. This is tough. This can be complex. If you have other questions, right? If you're watching this later, hashtag replay, please leave the comments. Let me know that you're here. We always super appreciate you being on these Tuesday lives. DLea DLayered, every Tuesday and Thursday, we're here. If you're interested in knowing more about what we do with Daring Deeply, life, leadership, and relationship coaching for high achieving professional men and women, send me a DM, leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here. More than happy to have a conversation and letting you know how we're helping, providing support, amazing support in guiding others into a new way, a new season of life. So thank you so much for jumping on. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Take care. Bye.